She thought it was her end. Then a human made the beast kneel. Beginning the last stand of Princess Kilira. The sky above the shattered citadel was an angry shade of violet, torn open by cracks of lightning that struck too close to the towering walls. The war had lasted for 7 months, and yet, for Princess Kilira of House Ryan, those months had blurred into one endless night of fire, screams, and blood. Her once proud empire, the Crystal Dominion, had stretched across 3 star systems. But now, all that remained was this final fortress city on Varys Prime. The air smelled of ash and melted metal. The roar of plasma cannons had grown quieter in the last hours, not because the enemy had relented, but because her soldiers had fallen. The beast had come. It was not a creature of flesh alone. Story spoke of it as half-living organism, half-war machine, a towering juggernaut bred for conquest by the Great Dominion. Where it walked, armies broke. Where it looked, courage withered. And now it had come for her. Kilira clutched the ceremonial spear of her house. Its crystal blade cracked from overuse, its once radiant glow now dim. She knew it was useless against what approached. She had no illusions. This was the end of her bloodline, of her people. The stone courtyard before the citadel's gate trembled under the beast's approach. Its body, plated in dark alloy, shimmered with an eerie green bioluminescence pulsing from veins of alien flesh beneath its armor. Its head was more skull than machine, eyes burning with molten light. The last of her soldiers stood before her, a mere line of 30. Kilira's throat tightened. They would be slaughtered, and then she saw him. At first, she thought the smoke and haze of war had conjured a hallucination. A human, a rarity in these parts of the galaxy, walked calmly toward the courtyard. His figure was lean but firm, clad in nothing more than a battered jacket and boots scuffed by long travels. A sword of all things hung at his hip, not glowing, not humming with plasma, just steel. The beast step slowed as its molten gaze fell on the human. For the first time in the war, it hesitated. Kilira's breath caught in her chest. Who was this man? And why did the beast pause as if it remembered him? Middle, the human called Yerrick. His name was Yerrick Valen, a wanderer, a mercenary. Or so the rumors had painted him when Kilira had first heard whispers of a human drifting from battlefield to battlefield. But no rumor had mentioned the strange authority with which he carried himself. As he entered the courtyard, the last of Kilira's soldiers instinctively stepped back. The man's presence was unsettling, not in its menace, but in its certainty. He did not look at the beast with fear. He looked at it with recognition. Back away, Yerrick said simply, his voice deep and steady. He did not shout, and yet every soldier obeyed, moving aside as though his words had been a command encoded in their blood. Kilira found herself unable to remain silent. "You cannot fight that," she said, her voice carrying across the courtyard, though it trembled despite her training. "It is death incarnate. We have lost everything to it. Leave now while you still can." Yerrick turned his head slightly toward her. His eyes were unlike any she had seen, gray cold, and filled with the weight of someone who had seen far too many wars. "I didn't come here to leave," he said. "I came to end this." The beast roared then, the sound shattering the sky. Its maw opened, and streams of fire poured forth, scorching the ground where Yerrick had just stood. But he moved with impossible speed, rolling aside, unsheathing his sword in a single fluid motion. Kilira stared. It was only steel, yes, but the way he wielded it was nothing short of otherworldly. The blade glowed faintly, not with plasma, not with technology, but with something older, rawer. "Impossible," whispered her general at her side. The duel that followed was unlike any Kilira had witnessed. The beast struck with claws that could shred tanks, but Jarrick's blade parried, sparks scattering in arcs that sang like music. He moved not as a mortal man, but as if the very ground bent to aid him. Every strike he landed cut deeper into the beast's flesh, exposing veins of green fire. But the battle was far from one-sided. The beast slammed its arm into ground, creating shock waves that threw soldiers from their feet. Yerrick staggered but did not fall. He lunged forward, his blade piercing through the monster's armor. The beast shrieked, shaking the stars themselves. Kilira's heart thundered in her chest. What was this man? And then she saw it. As the beast tried to crush him with its claws, Yarrick raised his free hand. For an instant the air shimmered. The beast froze mid-swipe, as if unseen chains bound its limbs. Kalira's eyes widened. This was no ordinary human. Yarrick whispered something, words she could not hear, but the effect was immediate. The beast dropped to its knees. It did not fall. It did not die. It knelt. Kalira's breath caught. The impossible had happened. The nightmare of her people, the terror that had burned her empire, now knelt like a beast before its master. Revelation, the human's burden. The silence that followed was suffocating. The surviving soldiers stared, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Kalira, trembling, descended the steps of the citadel. Her spear clutched tightly, though it now felt like nothing more than a stick. She approached cautiously, her every step echoing in the vast, ruined courtyard. Yarrick stood before the kneeling beast, his sword dripping with the creature's green ichor. His shoulders rose and fell with heavy breaths. "How?" Kalira whispered, her voice cracking. "How did you do this?" Yarrick turned, his eyes meeting hers. For the first time, she saw not just coldness in them, but pain. "Because it knows me," he said quietly. The word sent a chill down her spine. He sheathed his sword, though the beast still trembled as if chained by his will. "I fought in the Kraith Wars," he explained. "Decades ago, when they created these things, I was part of the project. We weren't told what it truly was, not at first. But when I learned, I tried to destroy them. Failed. And this one," he glanced at the kneeling monster, "this one remembers me. To it, I'm not just human. I'm its master." Kalira's mind reeled. A human, part of the darkest creation of her enemy, and yet the savior of her people in their final hour. "Then why help us?" she asked, her voice breaking. "If you were part of them, why fight for me? For us?" Jarrick's jaw tightened. He looked past her, toward the smoldering ruins of the city, his face etched with a grief so heavy it seemed carved into his bones. "Because I know what it means to lose everything," he said, "and I won't let it happen again. Not here, not to you." For the first time in days, Kalira felt a faint flicker of hope. Ending. A future forged in ash. The beast remained kneeling for hours, as though bound by Jarrick's unseen command. Engineers and soldiers dared approach, studying it, uncertain whether to fear or destroy it. But none dared move without Jarrick's word. Kalira stood beside him, watching the horizon. The storm was clearing. The war was not over. Thousands of Kraith ships still haunted the stars. But this moment was a turning point. Her people had seen the beast kneel. They had seen that the impossible was possible. "You've given them hope," she said softly to Yarrick. He shook his head. "I've given them a weapon. Hope comes later, when they know what to do with it." She studied him, the human who carried both the guilt of creation and the power of salvation. "You could leave," she said after a pause. "You owe us nothing. Yet you stay." Yarrick looked at her then, and in his gray eyes she saw the faintest spark of something warmer than sorrow. "I stay," he said, "because I must see this through. If the Kraith rise again, I'll be there to stop them. But until then," he glanced at her, "I will fight at your side." Kalira felt her chest tighten, but this time not from fear. For the first time in months, the crushing weight of despair lifted. The beast growled faintly, as though acknowledging its place. Bound not by chains, but by the will of the man it once obeyed. And so the story spread across the surviving colonies. That when the end seemed certain, when the princess of a fallen empire thought her life, and her people, were doomed, a lone human came. He made the beast kneel. And in that kneeling, an empire found its chance to rise again.